Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the next generation cruise ships from everyone. As some of you probably know, Carnival, Norwegian, and even Royal Caribbean all have new ships, multiple new ships that are debuting. They are going to be all new classes. They're considered the next generation cruise ships, and they're all going to be here starting in 2020, being one of the first ones to debut out of all three of these cruise lines. We're going to start with Royal Caribbean's because as of right now there's the least amount of information, so we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way. So Royal Caribbean has ordered 2 brand new cruise ships. They are considered to be, or I guess they've already been named to be the Icon class. Now it is very likely that we will see an Icon of the Seas as the first name, but it is not official yet, even though an Icon class kind of just gives it away. These ships are going to be about 200,000 tons, which is still not quite as large as the Oasis. I don't think anything is ever going to come close to that anytime soon, besides these ships that are just hitting 200,000 on the mark. They will take approximately 5,000 passengers, which is a lot. It's not quite as much as the Oasis class, of course, because it's a little bit bigger. But 5,000 passengers is a lot of people, even for a 200,000 ton ship. They will be liquefied natural gas, just like Carnival's, which I'll get into in a minute. And there are two of these ships to be built so far. The first one coming in 2022 and the second one in 2024. Now, with liquefied natural gas not being very, I guess, common, especially for these big cruise ships around here in the United States, so honestly these ships are probably pushed out just to kind of help, because as far as I know, Miami is not supposed to have any liquefied natural gas are able to support liquefied natural gas until about 2022, which is kind of giving us a little bit of a reference to when we may see these ships come out and where they will go. Besides that, there are going to be, again, 2 ships, 2022, 2024, likely to be Icon of the Seas and something else. And that's really all we know so far. These will start the year after Oasis 5 will debut in 2021, which will be the largest ship ever. Again, each one is getting progressively larger. Royal Caribbean has come out and announced that Oasis 5 is going to be larger than Symphony of the Seas by a little bit, just like how Allure is just a little bit bigger than Oasis, and Harmony is a little bit bigger than Allure, and so on and so forth. So I think each one they're trying to make bigger, which is pretty cool. Melody will... Okay, I'm predicting it'll be called Melody. It kind of just fits with Harmony and Symphony. I do have a video talking about it from like a long time ago. My prediction would be Melody for Oasis 5, even though that's not really what we're talking about this episode. So anyways, that's all we have really so far from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. Next, we're going to move on to Carnival Cruise Line. These are the ones I am most excited for because I am a big fan of Carnival. So where do I start? I have a whole video kind of explaining just a little bit about these new ships, kind of focusing solely on them. It will be in one of the annotations at the end of this video on the out card. So make sure you click on that, check out that video if you haven't already. But anyways, so let's talk about these new Carnival ships. Weighing it at 180,000 tons, which are not quite as big as the Icon class, but they are going to be the largest by passenger capacity, which is interesting, seeing that they're not even close to being the largest in the world. That could be interesting to find out. I'm a little worried about it, but I think if you do it right, it shouldn't be a problem. They are expected to hold about 5,200 passengers at single occupancy, and double occupancy being 6,600, which is making them the largest by passenger size in the world. Even though they are 180,000 tons, these are likely going to be a whole new concept for Carnival. So it's considerably larger than anything they've even come close to building. And the first one's going to be in 2020, and the second one in 2022. So just a little bit before the Icon class. The second one from Carnival will be the same year as the first one from the Icon class. We do know where the first Carnival ship will be home ported, and it will be in Port Canaveral, Florida. We don't know if it's going to do any Europe, a season in Europe, or if it's going to just come straight to Canaveral. But we do know that is going to be its main home port into 2020. And it'll also be going home to the brand new Terminal 3 that is currently under construction, which I will have a video talking about Terminal 3 by itself in just a few days. So we have 2020 and 2022 for these brand new Carnival ships. They are also liquefied natural gas, and being in 2020, Port Canaveral will have the ability to support a liquefied natural gas ship at that date and time from their brand new terminal. So this will be the first liquefied natural gas ship to ever be home ported in the United States, and we should see it's becoming a trend. Royal Caribbean's following. As far as we know, Norwegians aren't going to be just yet. Maybe they'll change that. Anyways, so that's a brief rundown of a little bit about the Project XL is what we're going to call it from Carnival. Construction should be starting on that in November. I will be following along that very closely because I am really excited for this. Almost as excited as I was as a kid watching Oasis of the Seas, quote-unquote Project Genesis, being built. So I'm very excited to follow along. Be sure to subscribe and follow along the build process of that ship, and I'm sure I will be doing just the same with the Icon class and Project Leonardo, which we will focus on next. Project Leonardo was the first, actually I believe they were the last ones to announce, but they were the first one to show us a rendering. Project Leonardo is going to be considerably smaller than both of these ships at 140,000 tons, which is a lot smaller than Norwegian Bliss, which debuted earlier this year, and the rest of the Breakaway Plus class, and even smaller than the Breakaway class itself. I also do have a video, actually two videos, talking about the Project Leonardo ships and when they will begin sailing. Starting in 2022, we will see the first of these Project Leonardo ships, followed by, we have now 6 on order. Originally there was only 4 with the option of 2 more, and within the last few weeks, NCL just went ahead and just said, build all 6. So we're now going to get 6 every single year starting in 2022. So we'll have the first one in 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 2027. So that's a lot of new ships for them. There is going to be quite a 2-year gap in between new ships for NCL. I'm interested to see if they decide to build at least one ship during those 2 years. It's because it is a bit of a gap with as many ships as being built now. I would imagine they would try to keep up with that, at least put one more out, maybe build a 5th Breakaway Plus class. I don't know. But that's my suggestion. I know in the past, Andy Stewart, the CEO of NCL, has said that because they're building smaller does not mean that they aren't going to build bigger than the Breakaway Plus class. Now, what does that mean? That means maybe we could see in the future a larger ship than Norwegian Bliss and Encore and all the other ones. That's a big if. That was only a kind of a hint, maybe, if you want to even call it that we may see something bigger in the future from NCL, which would be really cool. But getting back to Project Leonardo, these are going to be 140,000 tons and 3,300 passengers, which is going to be kind of awesome. So yeah, they're a lot smaller ships, and they also have a very small passenger capacity. So I feel like they're going to focus on a little bit more than just cramming everybody into one giant ship, which is always nice because you don't want to be on top of people all the time. Again, we were this was the first of these 3 new generation ships to have a rendering featuring the infamous vertical inverted, whatever you want to call it, bow, which is strange. And every time I've talked about it, I say it is supposedly supposed to be more stable and more efficient. So we will see what happens when that becomes a reality in 2022. Besides that, we still don't know a whole lot about this, besides the fact that it looks a lot like MSC Seaside with a inverted bow. I personally am still very looking forward to going on these ships. I'm still a big fan of it. NCL, well, I'm really a big fan of all 3 of them. It's a very expensive hobby, isn't it? But yeah, so that's really all we have on all of these new ships. Hopefully we hear back more. This is just a quick comparison of what we know now as of September 7th of 2018. Hopefully we know more. Maybe as we progress further, we will do another video or 2 comparing them as we start to know more things. And so with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're excited for all 3 of these new generation ships from the 3 major cruise lines. And I will see you next time. And see you soon.